Hey all, Heretic here, and today we're going to be talking about Darkmoon prizes. So who does this matter to? Well, one, if you're in a lobby where a fair game is active for an anomaly, you definitely want to know what these cards do. And two, if you're playing Tickatus, it sure helps to know what these do also, because these are the rewards you get for playing this hero. So definitely make sure you're aware of what these cards do. So if you don't, and you want to get some information, you're in the right place. Let's jump in. So the way it works with Tickatus is on turn 4, you're going to get a ticket. And then every turn, 4 turns after that, you're going to get one of these next tier 1s. So it's going to automatically upgrade every 4 turns. But in a fair game, it's a little different. Did he just say a fair game? Doesn't he mean a fair reward? Sorry, I did this video and apparently I just had a brain fart and I said the wrong thing, and I will say it a million times over. And it's far easier to just apologize up front than try to spend hours trying to fix every single time I said the wrong word. Because in a fair game, you're already starting at tier 1 on the first 3 turns. So when you get to turn 4, you're already going to be looking at the next tier of them. So when Tickatus is getting his first from that first group, if you get a triple, you're looking at the second group, the turn 8 for Tickatus value. So a heck of a lot better rewards than poor Tickatus who's getting it. But Tickatus is also getting, if he's in this lobby, the fair rewards plus his hero power rewards. So don't cry too much for Tickatus because he's getting double dip a bit. What do you get? Oh, and disclaimer, there's a possibility that some of these may be added and or removed from a fair game at any given time. I'm going to go under the assumption that they're all here information-wise for you, at least for playing Tickatus, and especially since the pool might change for a fair game, I'm just going to cover them all. First, we're going to start at the tier 1 version of these. This is the weakest version. You're going to get things like Banana Bunch, get 2 bananas. Gacha Gift, discover a minion from tier 1. Might of Stormwind, give 3 random friendly minions +1/+1. New Recruit, add a minion to the Tavern for the rest of the game. So you have 1 additional minion every time you hit refresh and whatnot. Pocket Change, get 2 gold coins. Rocking and Rolling, your next 3 refreshes cost 0. And finally, the good stuff. Give minions in the Tavern +1 attack for the rest of the game. So this is the tier 1 of them. Not exciting, not great, but at least in the case of Tickatus, since they don't really cost you anything, you just get to turn 4 and get one, they're actually decent. Now we have the tier 2 prizes. These start on turn 8 for Tickatus and turn 4 for a fair game players. Brann's Blessing, your battle cries trigger an extra time this turn. Evolving Tavern, replace all the minions in the Tavern with one of a higher Tavern tier. Make sure there's nothing you want in this Tavern before you evolve them, please. And, you know, if it is turn 8, just be aware real quick. Make sure they're not all tier 1 minions, because it's not going to give you a fresh refresh. It's going to say, oh, you have all tier 1 minions. Now you have all tier 2. I'm assuming you're not on tier 1 on turn 8 because you're still alive. So just keep that in mind. Great deal. Reduce the cost of upgrading the Tavern by 5. This is a huge one. Very, very effective. Great economy play here. Gruul Rules, give a minion at the end of the turn, gain +2/+2. This is an example of a card that used to be really good, and it now has not aged well. It just isn't a very good card compared to what you could be getting nowadays, power scaling wise. I'm still just a rat in a cage. Give a minion +2 attack, then double its attack. Once again, not stellar, but there's worse. So, I mean, it definitely, once again, on a cleave, Divine Shield has value. On the house, discover a minion from your current Tavern tier. So if you get this, maybe consider just tiering and taking a higher minion. Definitely has some value in for that. The Bouncer, give a friendly minion +6/+6 in taunt. Once again, back in the day, it was a little harder to give out taunts. This was a better card. The Unlimited Coin, gain 1 gold, return this to your hand at the end of your turn. So basically, it's an infinite amount of 1 gold. The game doesn't go that long though, so typically this one's not insane, but if you're using anything that needs spell triggers, this is a good, consistent, every single turn 1 gold coin for you at the very least. Time Thief, discover a minion from your last opponent's warband. Has your opponent gone completely nuts and found something, maybe you can borrow your own copy. There's definitely been times I've hung on to this one if I'm fighting someone who just has absolutely garbage and I'm strong. I will just keep this one in my hand and wait for a more meaningful opponent so I can steal something that's actually useful. All right, now we have the tier 3 tickets. These are going to start on turn 12 for Tickatus, and you're going to start finding these on turn 8 for a fair game players. All that glitters, make a random minion in the Tavern golden. Well, obviously this is quite good. Going to give you, if you're playing Tickatus, a higher tier minion discovery when you play it. If you're playing in the fair game, another ticket if this is still in the pool. Obviously quite good. Bananas, fill your hand with bananas. Well, if you happen to have an empty hand, this one is incredibly useful. Some of these will be big bananas while others will be regular ones. So it's random the value you're going to get from it. But even in the absolute worst case scenario, it's 10 spell casts for a 10/10 buff at the worst case scenario. Buy the Holy Light, give a minion Divine Shield. Targeted permanent Divine Shields. Not much to say, it's awesome. Ice Block, secret, when your hero takes fatal damage, prevent it and become immune this turn. You've got it. If you haven't seen this one before, welcome, you're very new to the game, and you can't die. If you take lethal damage, you will survive. Important note, if you can take lethal damage from a high point, say it's late in the game and you have 23 health, you take 24 points of damage, it will keep you at 23, not put you at 1. So it's great when you have an ice block and you're at 14, 13 health and someone knocks you to 1 but doesn't pop that block, because that means it gives you just a little longer to hang around and be cheesy and have fun with. Mindflayer Goggles, steal all the minions in the tavern, then refresh it. Obvious, you get everything in the shop, then you get a whole new shop. Repeat customer, return a friendly non-golden minion to your hand, give it +2/+2. So if you have a really sexy battle cry with a really good effect that you'd like to bounce back, or maybe you just don't want to lose one of the minions on your board and you're in a weird place right now, you can actually cycle one back, play all your other cards, and then pop this back on the board because of this. So pretty good. Top shelf, discover a minion from tier 6. Training session, discover a new hero power. I like this one, especially if you have one of these one-shot hero powers. You know, if you're Reno and you've already used it, get a new one. Let's see what else we can do. And odds are, especially if you're playing in a fair game, you might find more copies of this to change it more times. Hang on to it. Use it once and then hang on to one and wait to play the next one later if you can find that the hero power you're currently using has just run out of value. And now for the big ones, the tier 4 ones. This is going to be ones in Tickatus if it's turn 16 or turn 12 plus for people using a fair game. This is where you find some of the far more powerful tickets. I don't know if all these are still in. I believe the only one to me there's only one that makes no sense for it to be in, and that's Raise the Stakes because of what it does. That doesn't mean it's not in, because there's other silly things that are in that could be just as good. And there's always broken combinations you can't think of right now because the meta is just too new and people are always finding new fun things, and they might change it tomorrow too, that certain ones of these are not in. So take it all with a grain of salt. But all that being said, we start with Argent Braggart. Battlecry, gain attack and health to match the highest in the battlefield. That means of your highest minions, it is going to gain the attack and health. It's going to be good. If you gold this, you gain double the stats. So yeah, you're getting the picture. It's an absolute monster. Use this with Rylak. Use this with Young Murkai. Just broken stats, especially if there's not a lot of venom in your lobby. Big winner. This used to be my old favorite. I don't know now with Braggart being so good, and but still, I enjoyed this one just for the insanity of it. But discover a Darkmoon prize from each of the previous prize tiers. It can give you some good rewards. Just a good, goofy, fun thing. I like this one. You're getting a bunch of rewards. It's certainly worth playing. Fresh tab, refresh your gold. Obviously, that's phenomenal. Next, friends and family discount for the rest of the game. Minions in the tavern cost 1 less. Hey, guess what? Do you like your minions costing 2 instead of 3? Yeah, you get the picture. Just phenomenal value. Throw it down, go nuts. Especially in a fair game where you're going to find multiple copies of some of these things. You're going to put together some truly disgusting boards of just free shenanigans. Give a dog a bone. Give a friendly minion Divine Shield, Wind Fury, and just for the the icing on the cake, +10/+10. Is your cleave good? Would you like it to be better? This is just a damn good card. You're definitely looking for this, especially in the fair game. Go nuts, cycle, make your board disgusting. Open bar, the first 5 refreshes each turn cost 0. So yes, 5 refreshes, free. Next turn, 5, free. And it just goes on forever. This one, I didn't even realize, and I've played it a million times, that it was each turn, because whenever you got this thing in the meta, when it was relevant, it was you were done. You got to 16, the game usually ended right about there. If you were lucky, you almost never saw these. So I didn't even stick in my head that, yeah, this was each turn. I got to the second turn, I'm like, oh yeah, it is each turn, because it never mattered before. Now in a fair game, you actually get to see this matter. Raise the stakes, make a friendly minion golden, and return it to your hand. Now, I'm not sure if this is in a fair game, because it seems a little counterintuitive to get a Darkmoon Fair card that will make a card gold to give you another Darkmoon Fair card. If it is in, I don't know how long it might stick around for, but it kind of matches the general insanity of this to begin with. So I don't really feel it's, well, it does seem incredibly powerful. It just kind of matches what this thing is. So I don't know. That's my take. It seems pretty damn good, whether or not it's in. Even if you're just Tickatus getting it, there's still nothing wrong with it. Folks, those are the Darkmoon prize cards. You know, maybe you have played a lot and you've seen these, and maybe you've never really seen these until a fair game came out, because they've been gone. Unless you play Tickatus, and with 90-something heroes, you might not play Tickatus. Maybe you don't play Tickatus because you don't understand what the cards do. Well, now you're gonna have to, because a fair game you're gonna run into every now and then. So I really felt like it would be useful to bring you this information, tell you just how the cards work, and explain some of the simplicities of what they do. If you have any questions, please feel free, post them in the comments below. That's why I like making these, so we can interact, we can learn and grow. And if anyone has any tricks or silly things you can do with some of these cards, because I know there's a lot of silly things, please post them. Thanks for watching all. I appreciate it a whole lot, and I'll catch you in the Battlegrounds. Until next time, have fun. Later. Look at the camera and say hi. Really high right now, she says, and I'm really unhappy. But here I am with my little cone of shame.